Thank you, everyone, so much. I am Paula Brehm-Heeger, and I am the library's Eva Jane Romaine Coombe Director. And welcome this afternoon. This is an exciting day for us, and I really thank all of you for coming. We have some esteemed guests with us as well today, and I'd like to recognize them here. We have Board of Trustee members Elizabeth Lamacchia. Hi, Betsy. And Judge Nadine L. We also have City Council member Liz Keating and Representative Catherine Ingram. If we can give them a round of applause for coming out, that would be great. I'm sure you're all aware, partly because of the giant crane next to me and the other work here going on, but we are getting ready to temporarily close the south building of our two-building main library system here. And it's a good reminder that this is part of course, this project is part of a larger facility master plan project. And while it is a big part of that project, it is just one element in larger efforts. Our FMP was launched actually in January of 2020, and even with the pandemic, we've completed several projects, including the Price Hill branch. I don't know if there's anyone here, I see some heads shaking who know that. That's a great project. If you haven't been there, please do. The Deer Park branch will be completed later this year. Walnut Hills, another of our original 9 Carnegie branches, will be completed in 2022. We also added drive-through locations, drive-throughs at 3 of our locations during the pandemic. Those are really a high-demand way of delivering service generally, and during the pandemic, it became even more popular. So we're very pleased that we've been able to build and activate 3 more drive-throughs. We've also completed refreshes at several of our other branches. We do have 40 branches, and we have refreshed our Elmwood Place branch, our College Hill branch, Madeira, Groesbeck, and Anderson. We also have done some maintenance. If you've been at any of our earlier talks and our engagements, you know that we have a great system with a lot of facilities in need of improvement, and the average age of a building since it had been renovated or built is over 40 years. So obviously maintenance is a big part of what we're doing, and we had large maintenance projects completed at North Central as well as the North Side branch. We have several projects that are in the planning phase. The Avondale, Corryville, Green Township, Madisonville, Pleasant Ridge, and West End branches as well. And that's okay. Oh, you can leave it, Liz. I got a case on that phone. I want to make sure I've recognized all of our elected officials who might be here. Did I miss anyone? Okay, without further ado then, I'm going to introduce our Board of Trustee Secretary this year, who is Honorable Judge Allen. And as Judge Allen comes up to make a couple of remarks, I do want to also, again, congratulate her. Earlier today, she was honored with the Season Good Award at the Talbot House Luncheon for outstanding public service, and that is true. Come on up.
Thank you, Paula. It's such a pleasure to work with Paula because she's so upbeat and she makes everything fun, and she cracks a lot of jokes on public elevators, you know, and turns around and just makes a scene. But we did that together. Good afternoon, everyone, and really thanks for coming. Paula, if you don't mind, I'm having a memory of my experience as a little girl going to the public library. And I look back and I was only like 9 or 8 years old, and my little sister was only 6 or 7, and we would walk about 1.5 miles to go to the library in Columbus, and it was just so exciting to go to the library, and we couldn't wait, and we were just little kids. Back in the day, you know, the Peanuts time, and there were no adults around, it was just the kids doing our thing. And I know many of you have memories that you have of your days at the library and at this wonderful library that we're standing in front of today. So this building was first constructed in the 50s. Yeah, that's about the time when I was hanging out in libraries. And the community needs grew, and an addition was constructed in the 80s. And as more services were needed, the North Building was added in the mid-90s. So wow, that's like 30-some years ago. Now CHPL now boasts one of the largest main libraries in the United States. Okay, we can stop and clap right there. One of the biggest ones in all of the U.S. That's awesome. That's awesome. Somebody loves a library around here. Board members, executive directors, both past and present, fiscal officers, and staff have all played a part in creating a main library and a library as successful as the CHPL. And so let's thank them, and they're all, raise your hand if you're any one of those things. We want to thank you for bringing us where we are today. And so all these additions were about addressing community needs, and this latest round of renovation is no different. You can see from the renderings all around here on display, the leadership, staff, and the architects are creating a more open, more welcoming, and a vibrant space. Imagine, all these bricks are going to be down, and everybody's going to be attracted to the library, and especially connected to the Court Street development. We're just all one big, happy, vibrant community here in Cincinnati. But this is a $24 million investment, and a lot of that is taxpayer dollars, and we hope that we're pleasing the public. We think we are, and we know we are because we asked what they wanted and needed. And we spent a lot of time really listening to our communities. We're not just a board that makes decisions and just thrusts it upon the public. We really have spent years in developing these library developments. So it's making, this will not only help us better serve the community for decades to come, but will also help ensure our downtown stays vibrant and attractive to not only the residents and the visitors alike. And we want to thank you for your patience, because, you know, this stuff takes time, and it seems like everything in Cincinnati has a crane on it, or orange barrels and a lot of construction, but it's all good. It's going to be all good. And I cannot wait to share in the excitement when it's completed in 2023. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Judge Allen. And listening to Judge Allen's comments, I do have to let you know, many of you may know I've talked about it before, but I grew up in Cincinnati, and I often came to the main library in the evenings with my dad, and I can remember that giant card catalog. Anybody remember that? Little support from the community there. Yeah, that was a shout out, exactly. So I can remember coming down and being overwhelmed but helpful when I would ask library staff to assist me in figuring out how to find what I needed in the card catalog. And part of what we're here today to do, of course, is to honor the contributions of the building that we have so needed and used for several decades, from the 50s onto the 80s building. And some of the renderings really demonstrate that we're trying to honor the complete package. The 80s building is one that many of us in the audience know well, but I was talking to a few people who remember the building before the 80s edition, and hopefully you can see in some of the renderings the spirit of that building as well as we move forward. We are really excited also to be moving forward with all that's going on. As Judge Allen mentioned, there's much development going on in Cincinnati, in particular here in the Central Business District. And if you haven't walked down Court Street in the last couple of weeks or months, it is a great new pedestrian area, and we really want to be part of that outdoor plaza civic space that's being created. With this project at Main, we really will be an active participant in the revitalization of downtown and the core meridian backbone of Vine Street as it runs from this river on up to OTR. Getting back to what's fun and unique in our 50s building, hopefully some of you know that that building was honored when it came out and it was opened in the early 50s as a contemporary architecture gem. It was an article in Progressive Architecture that detailed how much then director Carl Witz really used the money he had for some creative and innovative selections, and the building was hailed as unique and forward-thinking for its time. I anticipate bringing forward not only some of the fun and whimsical color schemes and elements from that building, but also keeping true to our being a library that looks at innovation and creativity and future focus. I referenced the crane earlier. We are working on our skylight. We have a beautiful skylight. It adds a lot of light to that atrium area that many of you know well, where the card catalog was once hosted. However, it needed repair and drainage options and updating, so we're excited for that. We also I made a joke with Councilwoman Keating just earlier about, she said, well, what's the great technology elements? And I said, well, the elevators are going to be a lot faster. So we're updating our elevators. We're renovating this first floor. There are elements that you can see in some of our renderings, and we have additional information on our website, but it really will be a revitalized area that will have offerings for people of all ages. We will include things such as community meeting spaces of various sizes, and also the social stair, which is the new staircase that we have featured here. Right now, we have elevators, and when the buildings were built, elevators were all the rage, but we also know that stairs help people move through a building and understand how the building works, and we're really excited that we're going to have these stairs that are both functional and an element of art and design that adds to what the 80s building has achieved. We will have the north and south plazas. If you haven't looked at the north building plaza yet, which is along Vine Street, and that's that outdoor area, the walls are down and you can already feel a more open space. I was talking to Molly, who's our facilities and fiscal officer, and she said, boy, it really makes a difference, and all we've done is remove the walls. It really brings the building forward into the street and is more inviting and invites people into the library. And we do have the large mature trees over there as well that we are working hard to maintain and retain as we move forward with some changes to that plaza area. And the South Plaza area here on Vine Street, which many of you know has the elevated area, we will be bringing that all to street level and really enhancing the ability to people see the inside of the library and have a more open, inclusive environment for people to understand and feel welcome into the area on that part of Vine Street as well. Speaking of new things we're doing, we are partnering with Artworks, and we would like to thank them because they are really working to help us find public art that will enhance our space and again revitalize and add to what is an excellent existing building and framework. I do look around and I see so many of our staff members here on the periphery. If you're a staff member, will you put your hand in the air? Just thank you all very much. These folks have been working so hard, and they are going to be moving material over to the north building so that we can retain and maintain service all through the closing of the building behind me. And they have been amazingly flexible and enthusiastic, so thanks to them. And thank you to the community, all of you, for supporting our levy in 2018. That's really helping to fund this project. I also know that some of our planning and design partners are here. Thank you to, if you're in the audience and you want to raise your hand, Champlin, Group 4, IPM, JS Held, MKSK, and Turner. I know some of you are here. I'm looking at you, so put your hands up. Thank you to them. And of course, we always appreciate the active support of so many of our local and state legislators. And so I do want to turn this over to Councilwoman Keating, who has a proclamation and a few words that she would like to read. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here today. And you know, I'm 37 years old, so I don't always think of myself as too old, but then when I was reflecting about my childhood at the library, today I feel completely ancient. I was thinking about what the library used to be, and when I was a kid, we used to have to go and look at all the numbers with a Dewey Decimal System to try to find the books, use a pencil to write our name in the thing to take the book out. You had an actual physical library card that I swear we always lost and had to get a new one every time. And to think about what it is today, where especially during the pandemic, where we've seen it become remote learning opportunity, a place to be able to have access for internet, for people to be able to work safely and remotely, for people to get job training, for people like me on the campaign trail in the makerspace to make buttons and signs. And during the pandemic with my little kids, we had digital story time. So the library has changed a lot, and I'm really excited about this new project to see how much more further into the future we become. But the one thing that stayed consistent the entire time is that it's always been that place where a community can gather. And I think that's the biggest benefit that we have with the library, is having that space where we can all come together and have the resources that we need. So today I'm really proud on behalf of Cincinnati City Council and the mayor to present this resolution in honor of this investment in our future. And it's a whole bunch of whereases and a whole bunch of fancy language, so I won't bore you with reading of it, but I just want to thank you for your investment in our city and for investment in our future. So thank you.
And we get a quick shot here, Steve Scott with Judge Allen. Yeah. Yes. We'll get more. Yes. Thank you. Excellent. Thank you. Absolutely. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. We have another proclamation also from the county, so we will make sure that both of those are honored appropriately, and we thank everyone again for that. So we don't want to go on too much. We want to make sure everyone has a chance to talk to us and take a look at the renderings and understand what's going on, and honestly also to thank the building. I don't mean to sound silly, but it is a building that's given a lot, and as we think about it, again, childhood memories, there are probably particular things that maybe you want to take a second and think about what you remember from being in this South building. It's not going anywhere, but it will be different, and I think it's just kind of a generational moment to think through and look forward to the future, but to honor that past and all that is contributed to all of us, to me personally, and to the community, and to Cincinnati and downtown. So without further ado, I do want to thank everyone for attending, and please look at our renderings. Have a look inside one last time before our temporary closure, because this is it. Today is the last day for it to be open as it is right now, and while there's a lot going on in there, this is probably the last time it'll quite look like that. So please take a minute, walk inside. If you have any questions, let us know. And thank you again for your time. Thanks to our honored guests, our staff, and all of our community. Thank you.